Ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, I'm so honored to be here with you tonight after a very hectic, intensive day. I started at Wall Street with Bell, of course, and then with a fantastic meeting with the Polish-American community of entrepreneurs, and then Richard Quest at CNN, and you know what kind of ride can this be. And now with this evening with all of you, fantastic day for me. Thank you very much for this gathering at this special occasion. And let me just share with you a couple of thoughts about Poland and Poland as part of the European community and the European Union, but at the same time part of the transatlantic community. And maybe I begin with exactly this. We are on the verge of something new in terms of the global world and different powers and Pax Americana maybe beginning to be a little bit outdated. And in this context, the recent tensions between the European Union and some countries within the European Union in particular and the United States worry me, are of concern to me big time. And in this landscape, Poland is very much unique because we are equally very much pro-American, and it is not dependent on President Trump, or because we were equally pro-American during President Obama and before President Bush and before that President Clinton. And President Reagan has monuments in Poland, many of them. So we were really very pro-American. And at the same time, 86% of our population is very pro-European. And we believe that this transatlantic community, which brought about this fantastic, phenomenal development post-Second World War, and peace and prosperity, and then after 1989, it was instrumental in bringing the family of Central Eastern European nations into the whole European Union. It is so important for all of us to continue in the new situation, in the new era, so to say, but equally on the same foundation of transatlantic pillars. And it is far from being obvious that we are going to be successful in maintaining this transatlantic community, and Poland can be a keystone and integrator in all of this. We have come a very long way, as Paweł and David said, from the times of communism, and over the last 3 decades, we have actually increased our GDP by close to 150%, and per capita even more than this. And what was very good for us, it was mentioned by Paweł just a couple of minutes ago. Only a week ago, FTSE Russell has qualified us as a developed market. And this was not only based on GDP per capita, because actually there are 2 or 3 countries in Central and Eastern Europe which have slightly higher GDP per capita than Poland. But it was based on several measurable criteria, including market regulations, Stock and Exchange Commission, FSA, derivatives and settlement system, or the institutional stability. So I'm very happy that all those quantitative and qualitative ingredients have actually created a situation through which we were accepted by FTSE Russell as fully fledged developed market. I think we are quite happy with this as a sign of maturing economy and a step in the right direction. Many things which we have done so far tell me that we are going very quickly we are going to make very positive, very good progress over the next couple of years with our economic development. And I will name several elements of this economic growth which we are a little bit boastful about. One is social inclusiveness. By American standards, we would be probably viewed as liberal because we have significantly increased our social expenditures over the last couple of years, reducing child poverty almost completely by 94%, and reducing poverty across the whole society by 60 to 70%, different measures. And we are very happy with this. At the same time, we have actually reduced the budget deficit and reduced our public debt in relation to GDP. How was this possible? This was possible through a complete revamp of our taxation system. We were one of the worst member states of the European Union with regard to the VAT gap registered just 4 years ago by PwC competitors of, I don't know if they are here in this room, but I know my friend from Ernst & Young, and I'm always a little bit afraid when I mention the main competitors of such renowned companies, but PwC has made a forensic examination of VAT gaps, and Poland was one of the worst in the European Union. After 3 years of efforts, we have actually come a long way, and we have closed majority of those gaps, different gaps in different taxation components. And this is one of the reasons why we now have a little economic miracle, because the GDP is growing at one of the fastest rates in the European Union, 5% this year, 5% last year, most likely 5% or maybe 4, I would be conservative, 4 to 5%, or 3.8 to 5% next year. And inflation is well in check, 1.6% right now. Unemployment is on the record low level, second from the bottom, on the right side of the rainbow, out of 28 countries of the European Union, on the level of 3.4%. You would ask anybody in Poland 3, 4, 5 years ago that we will go below 4% with our unemployment rate, nobody would have believed this. I'm absolutely sure about this. So in this very context, the concoction of different ingredients of our economic policy are well prepared for the next stage of inclusive growth, growth based on innovativeness, growth based on infrastructure development. We have put lots of efforts to invest in artificial intelligence. First steps, of course. These are not very much advanced sectors, but we are quite happy with the developments of some traditional sectors like the furniture sector or food and agri sector. They are more and more capital and technology intensive, and Internet of Things and big data, which is one of our strengths these days. So at the same time, we were able to reduce corporate income tax for bigger company, for mid-size and for smaller companies in particular. It is now on the level of 15%. It is going to be, since the beginning of the next year, on the level of 9%, one of the lowest corporate income tax rates across Europe. And this is also, this has been realized by many Mittelstand companies from strong western northern part of the European Union, which are investing more and more in Poland, and this is also very good for the longer term development. We have just passed today in the Polish Parliament a critically important law. And this has also happened thanks to Paweł Borys and Paweł Surówka and Michał Krupiński. Three gentlemen, if I could ask you to stand for just 1 second, because I'm so grateful for all of you to... This is a law on building savings, long-term savings in Poland through creating first long-term pension system. We should have been doing this a long time ago. This was an Achilles heel in Poland. I regret it, but better late than never, and we have actually passed the law, and which is critically important for all of you who look longer term, because I believe that there will be more and more of domestic savings on top of foreign direct investment and foreign savings imported into Poland, which were so instrumental in our economic success. So I'm very pleased with this as well. So our economy is booming, and our investment is on the rise. Our legal system is very stable. We have some differences of view with Brussels, in particular around refugees and migration. Some of you are coming from Europe. You've heard about those for sure. Some of our American friends, very briefly, there are waves of migration coming from the Middle East and North Africa to Europe, and this is a bone of contention between different countries of the European Union. We are of the view that sovereign countries have to be able to secure our borders, and we have to decide whom we accept, whom we don't accept. And for example, we have actually been able to bring around 2 million of Ukrainian, Belarusian, Georgian, Armenian workforce to Poland, just to replace 1.5 million Poles who left right after the accession to the European Union to other countries. And by the way, we are now inviting them back to Poland with their experience, with their capital, brain capital, and they contribute a lot to a very solid, healthy economic growth. So all in all, we are also very happy with the Polish-US investment relationships and economic and business relationships. There is 35 billion of US dollars capital invested in Poland over the last 2 decades and growing year after year. Poland is becoming, or we have a chance to be a real hub for American gas. It's dependent on how the Nord Stream 2 is going to be established or maybe questioned by the US and some countries. But notwithstanding this, we have started a very good cooperation with American companies, and there is a bright future in this very sector. This is all related to a phenomenon called 3 Cs. Some of you might have heard about this. John Paul II always was saying that Europe has to breathe with 2 lungs. The Western lung, which was so happy after the Second World War and developed in a phenomenal way, smoothly and so on. And the Eastern and Central lung, which was not so happy, but is now catching up with the rest of Europe. And for this Eastern lung, or Central and Eastern lung, we need infrastructure development. And for this infrastructure to be developed, we need money. We have more and more of our domestic savings. We have some EU funds, structural funds, but we need expertise. And for this, I'm very grateful for all the banks like Goldman Sachs, Thank you, David, for your presence in Poland, and what you recently have done in Poland is fantastic for the development of our business and our economy. But I'm going to encourage many of you who have not yet been investing in Poland, because this whole new dimension and combination of strong economic GDP developments together with very good economic environment and 3Cs initiative and talented relatively young workforce creates a very good environment for long-term investment. So for this to happen, I recently spoke a couple of times to our new American, I'm saying our because I'm so delighted with her stance, your new American ambassador to Poland, Georgette Mosbacher. And she's so knowledgeable about what business needs, what are the prospects of the Polish economy, and I'm absolutely certain that we will be very successful together to overcome any obstacles and to open the gates for American business even broader. So thank you very much for coming to this beautiful evening and celebrating with us the 100th anniversary of regaining sovereignty, regaining independence by Poland. Poland is a very important member of the European Union and very good member of NATO, spending more than 2% on defense as one of very few countries actually meeting this target. And we would like to be a good keystone and integrator for the transatlantic community, which is geopolitically, I cannot name anything which is more important than this, to maintain peace and development and create good conditions for further growth for Europe and for the United States. And I hope that together we can make the future even greater, and let's do business together and enjoy your evening. Thank you very much for coming once more. Thank you.